Welcome to Sketch a Day Live, tweaking a few things, trying to always improve and get better, of course. Thanks for joining me on the show today. If you're watching on YouTube, you're going to get the full experience. It is Fan Friday, first of all, not Liquid Friday, Fan Friday. I'll throw up the Liquid Friday badge anyways. All right, lots of exciting stuff. For me personally this week, sold a few posters on the website. Thanks for the support, everyone. And thanks for signing up. If you are a Patreon, I just wanted to give a shout out and mention thank you to our new patrons. We have Mecha Art and Lines or Linus. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. Let me know where you're watching from, as always. We'll get started in just a minute if you're watching on the Instagram We'll get started with our sketching, our main stuff in just a bit. All right, but special shout out and thank you to Mecha Art and Lines for being new patrons. Patreon is a way to support your creators, especially now as times are uncertain. No one really knows which direction 2020 is going to go right now. So appreciate all the support, the love, all that good stuff. All right. That being said, we're going to get started here with our Fan Friday. I did also launch on the YouTube. For those who don't want to use Patreon, but you're looking for a way to support, we have memberships. It doesn't mean that anything's going to change here on the channel, right? I'm still going to do what I do. We're still going to go live. We're still going to stream. We're still going to chat. We're going to hang out. But for those who wanted to do a little bit more, it's a way for you to sign up on YouTube for support. All right. What's up, How, Kemi Toledo, Latrice? Good to see you as always. Antibus. Hello, hello. So yeah, you'll be able to make a contribution monthly if you want. That's going to get you a few things. It's going to get you access to the high resolution sketches. This week alone, for example, I uploaded a bunch of PSD files from our transportation sketching. So if you like cars, that kind of thing, and you want the those full sample files, you'll be able to get those. There's also a sticker, right, and access to sketches. And so there's kind of levels, right, that build on each other. So if you want a sketch sent to you with a personal note every month, I will commit to that, probably to a certain number, but that's also available. So check that out. That video is now live on the channel. All right, we're gonna be sketching on the iPad today. As always, I'm gonna warm up real quick. I am using I'll use the Mega Brush or Mega Pack 2 today. I've got lots of packs. I even broke them out into smaller packs as well. But we'll warm up. I am warm already, technically. I just completed a workshop with some students at the University of Kansas, so we'll just go for it here. Today was iPhone pre-order day for those who are into Apple stuff. I'm skipping this generation. I find phones largely uninspiring these days. I'd much rather invest in real cameras and gear personally, but it's cool to see how far it's come though in, you know what, almost, or about 13 years, I guess, of iPhone now, since 2007. Sounds like my kids are ripping my house apart. Hopefully they're not. It's fall break here, so everyone's home chilling. What's up, Tom? Let's start a party. Sounds good. Thank you, Derivative of Sempi. Yeah, feel free to sign up if you guys want to support. That is available, and there is an explanation there. So yeah, hope you guys are having a good Friday. All right, so just real quick warm up, and then we'll jump into the whole purpose of today's stream, which is Fan Friday. Woo woo! Fan Friday, let's go. So Fan Friday essentially is your day, your chance to show off your sketches, your work. We have a Discord server set up. I'm manually switching HDMI inputs because I was lazy today and I didn't want to set up the real deal. So I'm just going to show you the Discord here. All right, so we have a Discord server. We've got this channel called Weekly Sketches. Maybe we'll rename it to Weekly Sketch challenge or something like that. Sorry, we cut out a little bit there. But this is the place where we post challenges. This week it was transportation. That's basically anything to get something from point A to point B. Didn't have to be a car, could be anything. We got some creative submissions. We had a tractor. All right. Pretty cool. This is from Noyana. Thank you for submitting. Post it on Instagram as well. Definitely use the hashtag weekly sketch challenge as well. The goal here is to provide you with an opportunity to get feedback as well. Okay, so sketch challenges, design challenges are fun, but if you don't get feedback, how are you going to grow, right? We've got this from T-Phage, and I'm going to pull these up on the iPad as well in a minute, okay, and show you guys a few things. I'll just turn this on for now so you guys can see on Instagram. But once again, use that link in the chat on Instagram if you want to catch the full output of the stream. All right. Tom with a suggestion there. Mystery with the Bronco. We'll be looking at this one as well. Eva Maria killing it with this transportation sketch. It's huge. I didn't catch the size, but you can clearly tell it's very large. Sketching bigger certainly helps. Let's see. 100 centimeters by 70 is the size of that piece of paper, so pretty impressive. I won't be overlaying it because it was a really good sketch. We got Tom, one of our patrons, submitting as well with a what looks to be a mid-engine sports car. So I'll be looking at that one as well. Chevis with a really interesting submission. Again, transportation. It could be anything. So we've got a lizard with a little turbine on the back there. If you're watching on Instagram and you're like, what is he talking about? It's because you're not on YouTube. You're not getting the full thing. You know, you're not getting the full stream. So it's all good. Chevis with another cart here. Pretty cool. And he kind of explained his process, doing some 3D sketching over it. Totally cool. We got a forklift here by perspective of a box as well. Lines. I'm actually going to be overlaying line sketch and we're going to do a perspective version of this little vehicle here. Jordan with a mountain bike. All right. Very, very cool. Great job on the perspective. I think probably improving the line quality, contrast as well would help here, but the perspective itself seems good. You're missing a connection here on the stem, however, and this little connection area seems a bit suspect, but other than that, great job creating that sketch. There's a couple other channels as well in Discord. We've got gear and materials, so this is where I'll just post links if I find some good deal or some interesting material or experience with something. I'll post it. I'm going to be testing out some new markers today actually as well. So that is some of your work. Thanks for submitting. We're going to jump right into actually tackling and critiquing a little bit of what you did. So thanks again for your submissions. I need to figure out a better way to switch. Actually, I think I know what I'll do. I'll have dedicated inputs, but always improving, always changing, always making improvements. Tom said, I tried doing that one-man band, but there's too much to sketch. Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't want to do it. It's too much. Music brought to you by Paul Sohi. Okay, so this Bronco is actually pretty cool. This is by Mystery. So we'll start here, and there's really not much I'm gonna do to this one, right? But beyond just evaluating a bit of what was done. If you're looking for the link to the Discord server, Discord is a chat app similar to Slack that allows you to essentially join a community of like-minded people, and for us it's sketching, so that's what ours is themed on. Sketching, drawing, all of that good stuff. So if you're looking for feedback, help, whatever, you just want to meet some like-minded people, that's the place to be. Just download the app. You can also check out sketchaday.com/discord. This mic position. I should be getting my new setup for my mic though, later today or tomorrow. We'll see. Anyhow, so sketchaday.com/discord will get you there as well. All right, so a couple of things. Looking at the wheel flare here, right, and these perspective lines, what I would probably do is try and get these lined up. So this one in the back should actually be a little bit higher, okay, in terms of position. All right, so you just want those to line up. The front end looks pretty good in terms of perspective. Maybe finish off the bumper. Right, it just feels a little anemic, so I'd maybe finish that off. Wrap the front down. Pay attention to, you know, where's the center of all this, and if you need to find the center of things in perspective, all right, I guess I was off. You can always just draw an X. Actually, was I off? Let's see. Let's see here. All right. So corner to corner. Yeah, I was off by a little bit. So center line here. All right. And so my feedback here is just watch the perspective. I'm not sure what you're coloring with, if it's pastel or crayon. All right, but think about maybe the paper you're using to draw. The more textured the paper is, the more texture it's going to show if you're using something like pastels or crayons or even colored pencil as well. So you'll want to just watch out for that and tweak it, and just see how the result is. You know, find a paper that's a little bit smoother. And the reason I say that is here, right on the side of this car, you'd want there to, at least if you're communicating surface quality, you kind of want there to be some smoothness to all this. All right, and I'm just outlining where some of these reflections might happen, the boundary of these reflections, for example. So without really getting into it, we'd have a horizon line here, right, wrapping down and so forth, but just some things to pay attention to. I think nice job showing a bit of the inside, so really great job, Mystery. Thanks for submitting. Next we have, actually let me group these together. So once again, these will be available for download to members and patrons. All right, so we got Tom, or I don't know if it's Tom actually, just T-Phage here with this little hover cart space station transportation. All right, pretty cool. So what I'll do on this one is I think I'll create, let's go ahead and duplicate this layer, and I'm gonna scale this down. Hopefully Procreate doesn't choke. Actually, let me make a selection here. In Procreate, if you take your 3 fingers and swipe down, you can actually cut and paste, duplicate, copy, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna just duplicate that, and I'll just delete that layer. Didn't need to do that, and turn the main layer off. I just want to keep the main thing there just for reference. So this looks to be some sort of one-person vehicle, and you may have noticed, maybe you didn't, you're like, he's just rotating that, I don't know why. All right, so I'll zoom in here. So what I'm doing is, I'll just draw on top of this. I'm trying to evaluate the perspective. Okay, so that's my first thing here. Clearly the front of this, well, not clearly, but it feels like a fairly flat perspective, or that there is no perspective. Okay, and that's fine, but it tends to make your sketch less exciting when you do this. Okay, again, check for center. So your center line's a little bit off there. All right, and the vibe I'm getting on this is kind of a wedge shape. So if I were to look at this in side view, which you did provide a sketch, but I'm picking up on this wedge shape vibe right here. All right, we've got some bars, and looks to be, actually this should be a little bit longer. All right, you've got your little windshield thing here, and cut out for axis. So let's try and simplify the side view design here a little bit, and create some consistency. Man, my eyes are getting bad. I'm gonna switch these screens around that I have, so I can pay attention to chat. Hey Spencer, how are you? Have you heard something about the Rolls-Royce Young Designer competition? I have not, but if you guys want to do it, go for it. Okay, so here's where I look at a design like this and I go, okay, how can I make some sense out of what's happening? There's a really strong relationship I can establish with, say, the windshield, okay, in the front. And I'm going to try and keep true to T-Phage's design here. But let's say in the side view, we just want to take some simple lines. All right, like this. Maybe there's some hover pads. Looks like it does have some hover pads. And this axis. Now, it looks to be a one-passenger vehicle of some sort. I feel like the seat should be a little bit lower, perhaps. And maybe this is where we have our control deck. All right, and we still have our bars here. So just tweaking a few things, but now we have this really strong design line, you could say, right through here up, kind of defining the opening, but also establishing and grounding some of these things. All right, and you can kind of see how this line now essentially becomes an important part of the design. All right, so now in perspective, let's go ahead and I'm gonna try and do a bit more dynamic of a perspective here. So increase, or decrease rather, the distance moving back a bit. It's a wedge, so let's go ahead and create our box front to back right here. Wedges are always trippy in the sense that they feel just wrong at a glance. All right, I'm actually gonna do this on a new layer. So we will cut and paste. And now I can scale this up just a little bit. Let's adjust the opacity of the layer behind, or even better, we can just scale that down and have it as kind of a reference point. All right, so something like this. I'm gonna stretch this out a little bit, like so. All right, and now we can throw down some lines. All right, maybe this is our little cockpit right here. This is now at an angle. Okay, just draw through. I like this sketch too because it's not, this is why drawing through can help, right? It's not your typical car or whatever sketch that we'd find. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit because I don't want to waste too much time here, bore you guys. I want to be able to get to a lot of these, so I'm just gonna skip ahead, but essentially I'm just using this wireframe to kind of help place things. And I am going to change your windshield shape a little bit, but it's a very cute vehicle. In that the proportions are almost a bit toy-like. Certainly not what I would consider to be.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, what's up, Mystery? Mistry. Josh, I used your videos for my homework yesterday. Glad they helped. I'm glad they helped. All right, so here I'm just gonna I don't know if you remember this week we talked about how in perspective sometimes there's a shift. So even though I want to just draw this line straight up, it's actually here. From a side view, right? From a side view, this cut would look nice and straight up and down, but I have to shift over just a little bit. Oh, you use crayons. Wow, that's impressive. Okay, so here, and if I want, we can just straight line draw. I like straight line drawing because it just helps me think of things in very simple terms, and then I can come in, right, and map out the form as I want to or need to. All right, so I'm gonna tweak that a little bit. Let's do a straight line here and then have this like interesting kind of surface transition. And then now on the back we've got our little bars that wrap around. All right, so we'll have something like this as these wrap. I kind of like this bar floating, so I'm going to eliminate the back support here, whether that's feasible or not, TBD. But I'm going to eliminate that, and now just carve out a spot for this seat. Like I said, a little bit of an angle to the seat there. Just want to make sure our opening feels okay right through here. Bring this down. Seat right in here. So these drawings can look and feel really messy and stress you out, like, I've lost my place. But if you just focus a little bit, right, and you do one of these drawings where you draw through, you can actually learn a ton. Okay. So for the dash portion here, I'm just going to draw in a little shape like so. And just hint at some sort of control. I don't really know what the control is necessarily right there. Now looking at the front, looks like we have all vents, no lights up front, so I'm going to try and stay true to that. Two line submission, so we'll just rough this in for now. All right, just rough that in, and just curve this a little bit on the sides. Now I do want to add a little surface detail here, much like I did on the top. And it looks like we also have some little thing jutting off the side. So I'll try and capture that as well. But rather than just randomly placing this vent to the front, I'm going to try and use the shape of these implied lines, right? Maybe the position of the front windshield, right? To then create our side vents. All right, so that's one way I like to design things, is use implied lines, create harmony, right, in certain views, and then translate that into perspective. So now we can drop the opacity. I'm still using my stencil, my rough stencil. This is a 12.9 inch iPad Pro, by the way, in case you're wondering. So I've got my stencil here, and now we can just create our quick sketch. Now, like I always say, you want to redraw. Okay, so I'm not slowly coming in here and tracing things, because that makes for a very slow and boring sketch. I want to redraw those lines if I feel inspired to add something. I can do that as well. All right, or it might just be tweaking the angle of something. Maybe I want some sort of tail light on this back portion, so I can use this surface detail, for example, to add that in, just to hint at it. A little part line there. And maybe along with that part line, I mean, one thing we could do, I'm not sure what this is on the side. I should double check. It's like some sort of control or, I don't know, component thing. You could combine those vents up front, or perhaps even modify this portion. All right, so just a couple lines like this. So now this surface dives in a little bit on the side, and we have some sort of exhaust or whatever happening right here. So we can add that in. I'm going to go ahead and rotate. You could rotate the iPad, but I do have inputs that are connected to this, so it's a little bit harder for me to do that. Okay, we've got our hover pads here. Just kind of rough those in. Whenever you offset a line like that, you're kind of implying there's some thickness to the surface. Now, there weren't any lights indicated in the initial sketch, but I'm just going to add them right there. Just some little tucked in lights. We'll still have our recess here. Do something like that. And then now I'll try and replicate this grill that T-Phage, who happens to be one of our patrons. So thanks for the support as always, and for submitting as well. Maybe on the hood we can add just a little surface something, right, that perhaps lines up with these. I think you had some intake or something on the hood here, but maybe this lines up. All right, maybe right through there. And now I'll just get the windshield in. So I rarely use quick lines, so even this curve, right, I could draw it and stop and then have Procreate fix it, but it takes the human element out of the sketch, I think, and it's actually becoming easier for me to tell when someone's done that. And then I go, oh, I wish they actually showed me what they could actually do. All right, so I'll just finish this bar out. The stroke, sometimes the palm rejection on these apps is not perfect. That's okay, but sometimes we do get erroneous strokes from time to time. I think my chat on YouTube's frozen again. It always freezes at some point. Okay. So here we go. Let's finish this wrap out. You know, maybe there's some sort of upholstered thing happening for our little seat here. Nope, chat's not frozen. You guys just aren't talking. It's okay. It's all good. Here's our little seat. So the way I draw, I rely a lot on lines. It just makes for easier color later on, and it's certainly a style. I'm not trying to paint, so lines are important in terms of how they communicate form or surface details, that kind of thing. And then I can just add whatever color I want on top after. Just get, and again, I haven't figured out, okay, how is this thing steering or whatever, so I'm just going to hint at some sort of steering or control right there. And let's get our little side vents. If we choose, this could also just be a panel, right? Because this thing would have to be assembled somehow, so this could just be a little crease that gets feathered out. If you want to select a different brush for erasure, you can just tap the brush icon twice. That'll give you options for selecting some sort of brush to use as your eraser. So Sketch of Day Live, thanks for joining on Fan Friday. This is your day where I show your sketches and kind of my spin on your sketches along with feedback. All right, so let's turn our underlay off, and there we have our slightly adjusted sketch there. Reminds me of the hover cars in Dragon Ball. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. A future utility vehicle. I can also see that. Since I'm working in black, I'm just going to use my marker here, create a little shadow. Just a rough shadow. Keep these simple today. Alright, so just a little shadow there since it's hovering. And if I need to adjust the opacity, I can, or just leave it black. Whatever it is you're going for. Now I'm like tempted to, you know, render this out a bit, but I will mostly resist. Maybe just add a little gray here and there. And this is my real marker brush that I created for Procreate, in case you're wondering. And these are available on the website, sketchaday.com. If you use the code FIRSTTIMER, okay, if you use the code FIRSTTIMER, it's a one-time code. That'll give you a discount on the website. All right, so check that out. Appreciate the support, as always. All right, so there it is with just a little bit of black or gray tone, if you will, just to show some depth. If you like that, cool. If you don't like it, you can always turn it off. I can adjust the opacity or intensity of that as well. All right, so thank you for submitting this. T-Phage. Let's go ahead and group these together. Like I said, hopefully Procreate does not die at all these layers. I'm just gonna go ahead and delete this one. All right, up next we have Tom with the mid-engine car. I'm not going to go through all the technical bits here, but let's go ahead and use a hybrid blob slash gestural method here. I'm going to go for straight black. Let's go ahead and use my rough stencil again. Boom. All right. So I kind of know, well, do I know the form? I got to make sure I get Tom's form right here. So I'm going to shrink this down some more. Don't worry, I have the reference up on my other computer as well. Someone's asking, what iPad do I have and what is the total cost? I think I paid $1,500 for this thing. Someone's asking for unique sketches of a pocket sanitizer. Today's Fan Friday, so I'm just focusing on sketches that you guys have submitted to the Discord channel that we have. All right, so here I'm going to start by just roughing out a silhouette. Okay, just a silhouette of the body. Right, so I may start with something like this, for example. I can scale this down. Let's go ahead and finish the point or middle here. All right, so I've got this shape. All right, so this is like my greenhouse. You can think of it that way. So it's a hybrid blob method in the sense that, okay, a blob normally I'd sketch something like that, but I've kind of just made a little tweak there for this vehicle. Let's do a little cleanup. Like so, and maybe do that. All right. So if I need to, right, before I commit to any details, we can warp this as well. If I want to tweak the perspective, position, placement of the cab, anything like that, I can do just with a quick warp, like so. And now that I have that in place, right, remember, I'm thinking about things like, okay, where's the axis on these wheels, okay? But I can just also sketch those in. I probably have to overlay this after all. Let's go ahead and scale this down too. So yeah, it looks like you're trying to sketch some sort of mid-engine vehicle, so I'm going to try and hold true to your design as well. Is this supposed to be a McLaren? I'm not sure. It looks like it could be a Porsche as well. Not really sure, but I'm guessing it's a McLaren based on the headlights that you've chosen. Alright, so let's just get the position for these wheels in. Something like that. I don't know why the brightness of my screen went down all of a sudden. Really weird. So mid-engine cars, so we talked last time about this relationship, the dash to axle, and also how the greenhouse and A-pillar is draped over the vehicle. Okay, in this case, because it's a mid-engine vehicle, meaning the engine of the vehicle is here, these tend to drape a little bit more over the wheel, but you don't want it looking like a Prius, so kind of right about there. And then also the car is going to sit quite a bit lower, so I'll bring up these 2 points as well. Alright, looking at your body side, I'm just trying to make sure I kind of capture some of these details, right? Pay attention to what you have. Alright, I want to get that rear fin in. These wheel flares, I'll try and make sure I get that. And I assume this is the back. I'm not sure, but I assume that's the back. Oh, Porsche McLaren. Okay. It's if Porsche and McLaren had a baby. Fair enough. I like body kits. I know some people hate body kits, but they just make cars look that much more aggressive. You do have this like line here, right? And I'm trying to like, okay, that feels better. Just make that stick out a bit more. All right. So when in doubt, rough it out. That's what we're doing live, literally here. When in doubt, rough it out. Okay, so there's the front end of our Porsche McLaren. Tom also has this kind of detail on the side that we want to capture right here. I'm not sure how this terminates. In other words, does the door go like this, right? Does that side surface go like that and then straighten out? So we'd have something here. Or is this curved down? Not quite sure. I can't really tell from your sketch, so I'm just going to assume that we curve out and maybe there's a little bit of a intake or something there. All right. And you've also got your fin on the back. So I'm just going to throw up 2 lines like so, connect these, and have some weird fin stuff happening on the back. I don't know if that's too high. Maybe it is a little too high. So the back of the vehicle, you've got these lights. It's kind of cool. And I do want to make sure I get the shape of your flares that you have. You got these pretty aggressive flares. So whatever I do on the side in terms of lighting, I'm going to make pretty aggressive here. And then perhaps bring this all out. So if none of that made sense, just want to make sure whatever we're doing, we got a nice pronounced flare here per Tom's top view sketch. Thank you, Atai. Be sure to subscribe, turn on them alerts. What's up, Seisman? We're drawing a Porsche McLaren apparently. So thanks for joining. I think this is now officially the most people I've had live at the same time, so thank you. And then on the side here, starting to feel like a retro Ferrari a bit, so let's see if we can fix that in our overlay. Alright, so now I'm going to drop the opacity down, make a new layer, black, pick a tool, whatever. Let's try the rough stencil 2. We'll mix it up. Drop my brush size down just a little bit as well. And now I'm going to start with these wheels. Alright, so this is an instance where I will say the quick line tool can be useful if you're drawing wheels. Right, you just want like some nice fixed points in there. If you're doing a super tight rendering, you can do that. Alright, but I like the practice. I like the practice. All right, a little bit of wheel there. Now we'll bring this out to the front. If you're wondering what we're doing, it is Fan Friday. So we are going over sketches submitted by the fans on the Discord. That link is available in the YouTube video description, or you can hit up sketchaday.com/Discord. I'll give you all the information you need to know, I hope. If you have any questions or if it's not clear, you guys let me know. All right. Hit me up, let me know. Music brought to you by Paul Sohi. I'm not sure if it's Sohi or Sohai. I'm pretty sure it's Sohi, but I often mispronounce names anyways. I was going to try and finish that painting that I had started, but alas, I got super busy yesterday, so apologies everyone. But welcome. Again, thanks to the patrons and soon to be members. I hope you guys sign up. No pressure though. No expectation. Just another way to support what we do here on Sketch Day if you like. Alright, so now I'm gonna just start resketching. Okay, so again, it's about redrawing those lines, not tracing. Okay, so if you have to try a few times, that's totally fine too. Tweak things as you go. If something feels off, you don't have to maintain it in your new sketch. No obligation to do that, so that's why I say redraw. Even the angle of this line I may want to change just a little bit. I'm going to drop the opacity of the layer below just a bit so I can focus more on these new lines. I'll rake that down. All right, let me take a look at the back here. So I've got to decide what to do with the wheel's flare toward the back. I got to figure out, okay, where does that go? Where does it shoot? How does it resolve itself? All right, it's all things I have to kind of think about. I'm just going to hint at 2 seats here. Not worry about the back. Kind of feels like a Lambo in the back a little bit. So maybe I'll just transition, do something like that, and then have a nice crisp line right through there. Do something like that. So I'm going to show you one more thing that you can do to kind of check your, check your sketch. drop this side down just a little bit. But if you want to check your sketch, just go to Canvas and flip your canvas. All right. And this will give you an opportunity to like see things differently. Like now I can tell, oh, that wheel is a little bit off. Why is my smudge selected? So this wheel is a little bit off, right? If you want to go through the process of sorting out that perspective, we can always do that. Just a little quick exercise to figure it out. Boom, boom, oops. So it should be more like that. This one feels all right. So slightly off. Oops, what am I doing? Slightly off in the back on my sketch, but we can fix that. So a couple ways you can do that. We can just make a selection here and then tweak that selection. All right, so just a little bit in, or rotate if we need to. And voila, we've now fixed our problem. Okay, so it doesn't mean that you have to redo stuff sometimes when you're working digitally. Doesn't always mean that we've got to do that. Alright, so this pencil, the rough pencil here, I can actually tilt on the side, and if I just want to add some quick shading and tone, I can do that. Just depends on how you'd want to finish this off. This is just one way. Just add some quick shading. Also depends on which phase of your design process you're in, but it works. So if you're watching on the YouTube, this is kind of what it looks like. I've now tilted my pencil, right? And I can come in and just add some pencil shading to this. Just to finish it off. It just all depends on how those surfaces look and what you're trying to communicate. All right, so there's my reworking of Tom's sketch. All right, so contour line there to show you kind of what's happening. I guess I forgot to put the spoiler on, but we'll keep moving here. So thanks, Tom, for the submission of your sketch here. Go ahead and group those. Now we'll turn that off. All right. So I'm trying to decide if I want to do the forklifts. No, I think I'm going to do line sketch next, but I did want to show you guys. Really nice job. This is perspective of box, I think, or of a box is the username. Really nice job. I think working on the speed of the sketch a bit and some line weight would help. Pardon me. As well as watch out for the alignment of certain things. Okay. So here, for example, and here, these should be theoretically in line. Okay. Just watch your perspective lines. We've got a center of the scene, so that's good. That's good. That's good. So nice work for the most part on your perspective. The ramp here might be a little bit much in terms of the spread of these lines, but it's workable. And then for your ellipses, you'll want to think of them in terms of, hey, if these are on the same plane or face, right? Just make sure that they work with your perspective, right? So I'll just watch out for that. Decide as well, is it 3-point, is it, and 3-point perspective, at least when you do above and below the horizon, can get a little tricky. So what I kind of like to do is then curve these lines to simulate a bit of a 4-point perspective. Is something you can do as you're doing this. All right. Okay, so group these together. Let's keep going. All right, so we have line sketch, one of our new patrons. I'm gonna just make a selection here, and let's cut and paste. Oops, wrong layer. Let's cut and paste. Delete this one, and I'm gonna make a new layer, and we'll work off this car. So I'm gonna try and stay true to lines design here. All right, and I'm gonna try and interpret what's happening. There's a lot of interpretation I can make here for sure. All right. So that being said, let's make a new layer. And I'll just use some red blue ink, or color rather, not ink. I'm thinking in terms of paper. All right, so let's just create kind of our perspective that we're going to use here. Actually, should we do? I'm trying to think. Let's do something fun. Let's do a 1-point perspective. Let's do a 1-point, okay? Well, 1, but really part of a 5-point perspective system. Something I haven't covered on the channel. All right, so I'm gonna draw a line here, or let's go like here, and I'm gonna pick this point, and I'm gonna draw out like so, a little curve. I think I'm gonna have to draw smaller than I want to. And we're gonna curve down like this, like so. And now I can start to cut this up. I'm gonna change this song. All right, there we go. Hello, Manpreet. All right, and I'll just curve down like this. And now we can kind of get the top of this thing. All right, so again, try to stay somewhat true to line sketch here. So looking at the proportion, right? Got some nice chunkiness up top. So when I say 5-point, by the way, here's what I mean, just to clarify. So a 5-point system is gonna have, or you can think of it like fisheye, but this is technically how we actually see things. So you're gonna have your horizon line, central point, so that's 1 point. Okay, you're gonna have one above, one below, one here, and one here. So ideally, it's a circle. Okay, actually, my bad. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. So everything curves like this. All your horizontal lines. All right, this is a way to do, and it seems really confusing, but it's a way to do perspective. So what I'm doing is I'm taking just a small segment of this, right, to create that car. Okay, does that make sense? Probably not, but hire me for a workshop or tutoring and I'll tell you more about it. In the meantime, let's just keep going here. Oops. Okay, so now here's the top. In terms of cross section and shape, I get to decide what that looks like. So I'm gonna round the front like so. I'm gonna round the top here as well, these edges. And it looks like we have a fairly flat, greenhouse going. Okay. So once again, when in doubt, rough it out. All right, we've got our tiny wheels that are going to be on this thing. Actually, that one's a bit too far. It's under the windshield here. Again, trying to stay true to that original design intent. All right. Actually, it looks as though if this is the front, that's okay. But it looks like I need to extend this out just a little bit. So I'm just gonna eyeball it. Like so. And let's have the wheels stick out. Okay, so I'm gonna offset these ellipses. We'll have the wheels stick out quite a bit. I'll offset here and here. Again, just keeping it rough for now. And we have, like I said, our daylight opening on the top. This is actually kind of cool. I'm going to add some transitions to this. And maybe make a couple other changes. All right. Fleetwood Mac's Dreams next. I wish I could. I'll get a copyright strike, and then the stream might get taken down. So, all right. So I'm gonna move this whole thing over. Oops, I was drawing on a completely different layer. So I'm gonna move these layers together here. All right, just like that. And I'm actually gonna just merge these down. And now with a different color, let's use blue. I want to give the car at least some directionality. And it looks like, you know, based on line sketch here, we've got a little direction to the hood, if you will, and the body, just a little bit. It's definitely going broom broom that way. So let me do something like this. For our top here, just a little bit of attitude, and then also on our hood, right, as it wraps around. It's kind of cool. I think we need some sort of bumper though, or at least protection from impact. So let's go ahead and sketch that in. There, maybe this wraps a little bit on the side. Just throw that in as well. And why not just have things line up? I love it when things line up on simple designs. So I'm gonna add like a big tail light, maybe a bit of a door here on the side, like so. And hey, we've got this line. Why not have some feature, like a little running board or something? Be kind of cool. So this would be straight up and down, so right here. And again, I'm cheating. Okay, I'm cheating a lot here. So maybe these are our door cuts. Okay, so we could do something like that. All right, so this is the the Lines Mobile as sketched by and submitted by Lines. So thank you for your submission. All right, I'm just gonna rough in some wheel stuff here. Little different of a rim, kind of cute. Tiny wheels. If we want to add wheel flares, I can come in like, you know, halfway on this wheel, kind of hint at those flares, and maybe just have, I'm just gonna block in a little bit of a reflection here. I think this one I will try and render up and make it look cool. All right, should only take about 15-20 minutes or so, maybe less. All right, so now I've got my sketch. We're gonna do our thing, drop the opacity. I think I'll use, let's see, which brush to use. How about this little ballpoint pen? This is from the Brush Pack 1. Yes, they are different, 1 and 2. Both different brush packs. Okay, so now again, taking this bit of inspiration from Line's sketch, we're gonna turn this into some sort of cool vehicle here. New layer. I think this will be the last one. I'll give a shout out to the rest of the people who submitted, but this will be the last sketch I do here. All right. So let's get our roof in. Like so. Body side. I'm gonna extend some of these lines because I'm drawing real big here. So I'm gonna extend some of these lines out. Just make sure I get the full expression in of what I'm trying to do. So overdrawing is what this is called. So you overdraw beyond what you would see. And that just makes sure the whole line has a nice feel to it. I didn't do it there, so I'll just have to eyeball. This reminds me of like if Honda were to do a new Honda Element or something, like this is how it would look or something. I'll go ahead and add some sort of headlight. And then some sort of tail light. I'll change that from what we had initially. Don't know what the back of this looks like, so I can make up whatever I want. There we go. Oh, I forgot I was using the ballpoint pen. I was like, why can't I get a little bit of thicker line here? So this is meant to behave a bit more like a real ballpoint pen would, or Biro, some people call them. I think that's what they're called in Europe and elsewhere. I call them ballpoint pens. I'm gonna give a little bit of angle to the windshield. It's giving me anxiety. Unmanned electric Uber cab of the future. Make it yellow. I was gonna make it red. I was gonna do red just for fun. All right. Let's finish out this front bumper right here. I think I can almost turn off the underlay. You can kind of see how that's now being built out. Okay, when I'm doing the wheels on a more finished sketch, I like to do them on a separate layer. So that's what I'm going to do here. It's just a habit, I think. It also makes it so I don't have to worry about, oh man, I messed up on those sketch lines or whatever. Okay, that feels totally off. So let's go. Let's figure this out. There we go. I feel like Procreate's gonna like die on me because I have all these other layers going. So we'll see. Now, if this were a more serious sketch, I would take the time to figure out all the geometry here, but I just want to move quickly. Alright, so let's get our other wheel. Just sketching some guidelines here. So I can get the right shape. Yeah, feels like it needs to rotate a little bit. There we go. That feels better. So now I know what the shape's gonna be. Drop the opacity a little bit. And now I will do my final lines. Sketch Day Live, by the way, thanks for joining. You can always catch me on the YouTube. What's going to be next week's theme? We're not sure yet. I think we might do handheld. We're also talking about doing like, hey, let's everyone sketch with a certain tool. It could be like Pencil Week or something, or Digital Week. Happy to take suggestions as well. So if you guys want to suggest something in the... I'm going to switch back to this stencil here. If you want to make suggestions in the Discord channel, feel free. That is sketchaday.com/Discord. Alright, we're almost... I just got to make sure we capture a few other things. Okay, we can turn that off. Those are wheels. That's the body. Alright, so I just want to capture this door cut and wheel flare area. We'll sort out the surface transitions a little bit later. This is the Spencil, so it's a digital pencil. Yes, named after me. But a digital stencil that's meant to not be too perfect, because too perfect feels fake. And I don't like fake. Certainly ways to do that if that's what you choose to do, but not what I like to do. Alright, maybe some treads and whatnot. Okay, so like I said, I was going to make this red. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to assume this vehicle is in some sort of outdoor scene. So that's going to be my environment. It's important to think about where your object is that you're coloring, rendering, painting, sketching, whatever, because that's going to affect how light appears on that object. Okay, I'm not going for hyper real here in terms of the application and presentation. Just a quick sketch respecting some reality. Alright, so right where I overdrew, I'm gonna eliminate some stuff I drew through right here, so I'll just do a little cleanup. Where we can. So there's lines vehicle. You two finger tap on the layer, drop down menu, and slide the bar to adjust it. Oh, thanks, Marzi. So yeah, you two finger tap on a layer. I'll switch to my overhead here on YouTube so you can see. So I would two finger tap and then I slide to adjust. Okay, so that's how it works in Procreate. Hope that helps. All right. Got so many reminders. Hello, Mecha Art. Okay. I also want to rough out the shadow. That's going to tell me at least my light direction. So, for example, if the light is positioned here and up, okay, means that all my shadows are going to be cast back this way. So putting a shadow in the shape just like that would be inaccurate. I have to account for the distance from the light source and so forth. So I'm just going to mock in the shape, and I'm just planning ahead for what these shapes would look like, okay? And just for effect, we'll extend that out like so, and I'm going to drop the opacity. Try and do this in maybe 2-3 layers. All right, so first thing I want to do is get my round brush here, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill in. Now this is I will say, working digitally, there's always multiple ways to do the same thing. So if you have another way to do it, cool. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear or see how you do it. This is just how I do it. And by do it, I mean I'm blocking in just an area that's going to be where I restrict. Shoot. Oh. Thought I had something on the wrong layer. Where I color. Alright. So drag, drop. Now it's filled in. If I need to change this color, right? If I want to go more of a deeper red, I could do that. Right. So just really handy just putting that down on the canvas to start. And I'm going to start with a mid-tone. Okay. Next, I'm going to map out some reflections. The reflective bits. You can do this if you want to change the color of your car later. You can do it with something like a gray. So I can do that, and then on this layer switch my blend mode to multiply. And so now as I map out these reflections, right, something in the environment there, for example, let me think about this. Yeah, maybe like so. Actually, this is interesting. I gotta think about this. So I'm trying to think or imagine, okay, what's the relative position of the horizon, which is this line I'm sketching in here, to the vehicle, all right? So I can kind of map these out like so. And now just fill this in. All right, so I've got some reflections happening there, and I have to think about also where else I may have stuff reflecting in, right? If there's something behind, I'm gonna catch that as well. Let me just scribble some of that in on this side. That's like, hey, you know, there's mountains or whatever, and those are reflecting into that portion there. All right, so now we have to light the whole thing. I can make a selection based on those pixels, and above, depending on the color of the ground. All right, so if the ground has some sort of warm tone to it, you can pick like a warm white, nice soft airbrush, and now just hit the whole side here. All right, let's deselect, and now I have a bit of a reflection happening. May the power of gerbils improve my day and workflow. Thank you, Mecha Art. Thank you. All right, so there I've got my reflection. So now I've got to do the sky tone. Well, it's red, but there's a clear coat on top. So I'm going to get some of that blue peeking through and reflecting, okay? If it's, again, outside. So in the Sketch-A-Day Mega Pack 2, I have some custom brushes that I made for highlighting things. So we have these air highlighters. I'm going to try and use one of these and see how I feel about it. All right, so right through there on this edge, okay, I'm going to get that deep tone, same toward the top on this nice curved surface. Toward the horizon, however, I'm going to get lighter tones, and I happen to be doing this on the same layer. Can I get away with that? Can I get away with it? Oh shoot. I guess we're going for it because I was not careful here. So I'm going to make a new layer, and let's go for, yeah, I'm going to make a new layer, and then I'm going to have to airbrush on top. Why is it? Oh, maximum layers reach. See, that's what I was worrying about. Sorry, Jordan and Noyana. Actually, I'll show you guys the sketches real quick. So we did have Jordan Null also submitting. Let's go ahead and group these. Yeah, so one of the things I do like about Adobe Fresco as opposed to Procreate is I have not so far come across a layer limit with that app. So, all right, so there's Jordan's bike. Like I mentioned before, some mechanical concerns through here, but more importantly, I think working on the line work a bit, really committing. If you're going to do bike spokes or whatever, you know, really think through the position placement of all that. Watch the ellipse shape. Overall, the perspective seems okay. But yeah, work on the, sorry, yawn, I was up late. Work on the line quality, shape of your ellipses, and so forth, and that should help, all right? And then Noyana, really cool seeing the tractor. Again, I can immediately see there's some ellipse concern here, right? So think about the shape here. This is not a square in perspective, and that may be causing some of the trouble. So remember, a square has all four sides equal, so your ellipse should actually look something more like this. And then you can offset your ellipse. When you offset your ellipse, you create the illusion that there's some depth to it. All right, and that'll help you a little bit. So think about your enclosing shape, place your ellipse, right? If you want your perspective to be more exciting, don't make these two equal. Make this one a little shorter, and that's going to help this feel more dynamic. Okay, so if you had a perspective like this, for example, it's going to help make your tractor feel more dynamic. So just a couple of things to work on there. All right, so I'm gonna have to delete some of these layers. Actually, maybe what I'll do is duplicate the document. So let's go ahead and duplicate. It's gonna work its magic. I don't know, maybe if I got a new iPad, I wouldn't come across the layer. Yes, I am aware it's tied to DPI size and canvas size, but I have not had that issue in Fresco, and I've worked on very large pieces for clients. No problem whatsoever. So Your mileage may vary, I suppose. All right, back to our sketch here. Okay, so there's our little car that Lines created. So now, whew, got our layer in. Because I was like, why can't I do this? Let's use our soft air highlighter. And just right here, close to the horizon. Okay. You can also play with the blending mode for the layer. Sometimes you can use add, for example. And then now I can just erase to clean up. And that's because I made the mistake of having this all on the same layer. But that's kind of what you're going to see, right? If this were an outdoor scene. You're going to get that sky tone up high. You can use purples or blues, things like that if it's a red, for example. And you'll get some of that happening right in there. Thanks. I was wondering what about your sketch. Okay, now you can see. Awesome. Thanks, Latrice. There are 80 people watching, but 31 likes. Please hit the like button, he says. You're the best. All right, so here, same thing. I'm going to reduce my brush size and get some of that sky tone in, and also, in addition to that, some of this lighter tone as we move down. So that's going to create the reflectivity we want in that wheel flare. Now, I'm not entirely accurate front to back here, and I can tell. So just to create some consistency, I'm going to use, let's just use my marker. We'll keep it sketchy. It's sketch day after all. So I'll use this real marker brush and now create some space under the wheel well. It's also a really great brush for wheels, period. Alright, so I'll just start. It's actually an interesting brush. It does have build up to it, and a little bit of pressure sensitivity as well. Also, it's pretty much like you can't get a white alcohol-based marker, so it's nice that I can, hit some of these spots with white if I want to, or even better, just a little bit of light blue, because that's going to be a bit more consistent with a sky tone. Something like that. And let's get our cab colored in. Round brush, cool. This is behind everything else, so I should be able to not be as precise and just shade this in. Alright, if I wanted to show, hey, there's some transparency here, I could drop the transparency and then on a new layer behind all that, just mock in. Okay, there's some seat stuff happening right there. Right, maybe a bit right there. We've got our pillar. Right, we can kind of do this on a separate layer, and now we're showing, hey, here's what's happening inside the vehicle. Just some shapes like that. We can drop the opacity on that as well. Play with the opacity of that shading there, and of course finish things off add some reflective bits to it. Now, this is by no means like, a car rendering that you'd see, a car designer do, but I just wanted to show you a little bit of how we do, or how I do rather, reflections, things like that. Can add some white in here as well. Okay, now for the other surfaces of the vehicle, let's say we want to have some nice glossy business happening. All right, I'm just gonna block in. Just gonna block in some white spots. So again, this is Fan Friday. Thanks for joining. This is where I take your sketches, interpret them, give you some feedback, help out a little bit. All right, so I can add these little white splotches, for example. On the side here, maybe we can add some cool ground effect or something. I don't know. Maybe this is some sort of blue light that's shining out, right? Maybe. Then I'll just add some glow to it. Gotta make sure. See, hopefully you can kind of see how layering kind of works here too, right? Throw that blue down. Squeak said the gerbil. Alright, so there we have our little lighting effect. If we want to reinforce the kind of additional lighting here, we can add some reflections in the corners, edges, things like that. Sometimes I just like to add little light dots as well. All right, so I know I'm like hopping all over the place here, but one thing, I did a workshop this morning and I told the students, you know, keep your eyes open. That's how you learn things. So in this case, you know, maybe there is, you know, if there was like a stripe on the ground or something here that I wanted to reflect, I may have some pretty distinct element like this, for example, reflecting back. And I can kind of do the same thing here. The closer you get to the horizon as well, the more intense the light here is going to be. So now I'm just going to drop the opacity a little bit. It's all about layering. Alright, so another layer to add some intensity here. Or you could just, if you want to, start with gray or just a lower opacity on the brush itself, if that works for you. On these little door sections, I'm going to add some white to the edges that would catch light. And some shadow here, since this kind of overhangs a little bit. All right, so lots of back and forth work in this. Perhaps make this horizon line a bit stronger as well. I'm not even using the right layers at this point. I'm just trying to get this done. But hopefully you can kind of see at least the logic here behind how we do things, or how you can do things even. If you're trying to sketch, or rather even render a vehicle. So Sketch Day Live, thanks for joining. Once again, happy Friday. Hope you're having a good time. I do this every Friday, not at the same time because life happens, but yeah, life happens. But if you subscribe, turn on alerts, you should be able to catch the stream. You'll be notified. Little eraser there just to respect the part lines. Okay. Quick erase to feather that in. Alright, so a lot you can do here, and I'm just gonna call it good and throw in a shadow. Now if I had a few hours, oh, and I have to get the front clip done. But if I had a few hours, you know, and I was just chilling and I want to do something, I could do this. Should we use this round brush? Why not? Let's use this round brush from Brush Pack 1. I like it because it's kind of like a paintbrush. There's cool opacity things happening with it as well. Maybe we'll do a little reflection action here. So once again, this will be available as a digital download for patrons and members. Thanks for your support. All right, so just a little reflection business on this bumper. I'm doing like minimal stuff here just to get that in. And there is no back bumper, so, but we won't talk about that. The first rule of the Deathmobile is you do not talk about safety on the Deathmobile. The second rule of the Deathmobile is we do not talk about safety on the Deathmobile. You get the picture. You get it. Alright, but like I said, a lot I could do here to kind of help this out. I didn't even do the front lights, but there you go. There's my interpretation of there's my interpretation of line sketch. Thanks for your submission. If you guys need a reminder of what that looks like, I'll pull this in real quick. This is the original sketch that was created and submitted. So there you go. There's my interpretation of the sketch by Lines. So thanks again for being a part of Fan Friday. Super fun as always. If you want to participate, definitely join the Discord. All right, check that out. Come hang out, get some feedback, all of that good stuff. You know, help each other. Help give some feedback, high fives, whatever. We keep it decent. We keep it happy, keep it encouraging. All right. So there's line sketch. Here's a couple others that we did today as well. The cool thing too about having access to the files, I will say, is that, you know, if you want to see everything I did in Procreate, you can tap video and then time-lapse replay, and it'll show you everything that we did from warm-ups to overlay, feedback, all of that stuff, right? We can skip ahead and see, oh wow, here's T-Phage's sketch that we redid. Here's Tom's sketch that we redid. Okay, and here's that process of doing line sketch. I actually like the line drawing a little bit better, and that wheel in the back is messing with me because typically when I do this, I keep the objects on center, but this is off center, so it naturally distorts that wheel. All right, so there you go. That's the benefit of having this file. You'll see everything. All right, so there it is. T-Phage's sketch. A little bit of information on ellipses. We got Tom's sketch as well. I guess this should be in this group. I'm not going to go through and label all the layers or anything, but you'll have access to the files. So if you want to download this, look at it in Procreate yourselves, you can check it out. All right. There's a little 5-point perspective. Looks like an S. 5-point perspective. Just so you guys know what that is. All right, and there is, oops, line sketch as I'm trying to interpret it. All right. Well, thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure. Hope you have a good Friday. Not to be confused with the actual holiday, but hope you have a wonderful Friday. Thanks so much for joining. Be sure to check out memberships if you're looking to support, and even have a sketch mailed to you with a note every month. Check that out. Or check out Patreon if you like and prefer. Totally fine. Being here, of course, is the most important thing. So thank you for liking, subscribing, turning on those alerts, and we'll be back with more content. Definitely Sunday. I'm not going to promise you Saturday again, because every time I'm like, yeah, I'll be back Saturday, and then, you know, I need to rest and all that. So I'll be back Sunday for Sci-Fi Sunday for sure. Maybe a surprise, just chill painting session tomorrow, maybe, but no promises or guarantees there. But yeah, definitely turn on alerts so you can know when I go live. It's a little bit unpredictable because I am a full-time single dad. I do this full-time and somehow make it work without losing my mind. So I definitely appreciate the support. I love you all. Thank you so much for believing in what I do. And hopefully if you've learned something, definitely share that thing as well. Remember, passion is the process. Keep hustling, keep working hard, and I'll see you guys next time right here on Sketch A Day. Peace.